The morning sun cast long shadows across the quiet street as Maya hurried through the front door of Sunshine Bakery. Her sneakers squeaked against the polished floor as she tied her apron around her waist, already running 10 minutes late for her shift. At 22, Maya had learned to juggle her college classes with her part-time job at the family-owned bakery, but some days felt harder than others. "Sorry I'm late, Mrs. Chen," she called out to the elderly owner who was arranging fresh pastries in the display case. The sweet smell of vanilla and cinnamon filled the air, making Maya's stomach growl softly. She'd skipped breakfast again to make it to her early shift. Mrs. Chen looked up with a gentle smile. "No worries, dear. Take your time getting ready. It's been quiet this morning." Maya grabbed her notepad and pen, checking that the coffee machine was running properly. The bakery had a cozy, welcoming atmosphere with warm yellow walls decorated with family photos and handwritten customer reviews. Small wooden tables dotted the space, each with a tiny vase holding fresh flowers. It wasn't the fanciest place in town, but it had heart. As the morning progressed, Maya served the usual customers. There was Mr. Johnson, who came in every Tuesday, for his black coffee and blueberry muffin, and Mrs. Rodriguez, who always bought a dozen assorted cookies for her grandchildren. Maya knew their orders by heart and enjoyed the friendly conversations that came with each sale. Around 11 o'clock, when the morning rush had died down, Maya noticed a small figure pressed against the glass display case. A young boy, probably around 7 or 8 years old, stood perfectly still, staring at the cakes with wide eyes. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his clothes looked clean but worn. What caught Maya's attention wasn't just his intense focus on the pastries, but the way his small shoulders seemed to shake slightly. She walked over slowly, not wanting to startle him. "Hi there," she said softly, crouching down to his level. "Are you looking for something special?" The boy turned to face her, and Maya's heart immediately sank. Tears had left wet tracks down his cheeks, and his big brown eyes were red from crying. He clutched something tightly in his small fists. I want to buy a cake," he whispered, his voice trembling. "For my mom. It's her birthday today." Maya felt a tug in her chest. There was something so pure and determined about this little boy despite his obvious distress. "That's really sweet of you," she said gently. "What kind of cake were you thinking about?" The boy pointed with a shaky finger at a beautiful chocolate layer cake sitting prominently in the center of the display. It was decorated with elegant swirls of buttercream frosting and delicate pink sugar roses around the edges. A small price tag read $35. "That one," he said, trying to sound confident but failing to hide the worry in his voice. "Mom loves chocolate, and pink is her favorite color." Maya looked at the cake and then back at the boy. "It's absolutely perfect," she agreed. "Your mom is going to love it." "What's your name?" "I'm Danny," he said, wiping his nose with the back of his hand. "My mom's name is Jessica, and she works really, really hard. She has 2 jobs and she's always tired, but she still helps me with my homework and makes me dinner every night." The way Danny spoke about his mother made Maya's heart ache in the best way. She could hear the love and admiration in his young voice even through his tears. "She sounds like an amazing mom," Maya said. "I bet she's going to be so surprised and happy." Danny nodded eagerly, then slowly opened his small fists. In his palms lay a crumpled collection of dollar bills and coins. Maya could see ones, a few fives, quarters, dimes, and pennies. It was clear that Danny had been saving this money for a long time. "I've been saving my allowance," he explained, his voice getting smaller. "And I found some coins under the couch, cushions, and I even saved the money Grandma gave me last month instead of buying that toy I wanted." Maya's throat tightened as she watched Danny carefully count his money on the counter. His little fingers moved slowly, making sure he didn't miss anything. She could see him mouthing the numbers as he went along. 17, 18, 19. Danny continued counting, his face growing more worried with each bill and coin. 20, 21, 22, $23.47. The silence that followed felt heavy. Danny stared at his money, then at the cake, then back at his money. Maya watched as the realization hit him and fresh tears started forming in his eyes. "It's not enough," he whispered, his voice breaking. I thought I had enough, but it's not enough. Maya felt her own eyes starting to water as she watched this brave little boy try so hard not to cry. She could see him calculating in his head, probably wondering if there was any other money he could find, any other way to make this work. I just wanted to do something special for her, Danny continued, his words coming out between small sobs. She never buys anything nice for herself. She always says we need to save money for important things, but today is important. It's her birthday. The pure love and desperation in Danny's voice hit Maya like a physical force. She thought about her own mother, how hard she had worked when Maya was growing up, how she had sacrificed so much to give Maya opportunities for a better life. Maybe there's a smaller cake, Danny asked hopefully, looking around the display case. Something that cost $23? Maya looked at the other options in the case. There were some individual cupcakes for $3 each and a small plain vanilla cake for $28. But she could see that Danny's heart was set on the chocolate cake with pink roses. It was perfect for his mom, and Maya could tell that nothing else would feel right to him. You know what, Danny? Maya said, making a decision that felt as natural as breathing. I think we can make this work. Danny looked up at her with confusion and hope mixed in his expression. Really? Maya reached into her back pocket and pulled out her wallet. Inside was a $20 bill, her tip money from yesterday's shift. It wasn't much, but it was what she had. She'd been planning to use it to buy lunch for the next few days, but looking at Danny's face, she knew there wasn't even a question about what she needed to do. Sometimes, Maya said, placing her $20 bill next to Danny's pile of money, people help each other make special things happen. And your mom's birthday definitely qualifies as special. Danny's eyes went wide as he stared at the money. But that's your money, he stammered. And now it's helping buy your mom the perfect birthday cake, Maya replied with a warm smile. That makes me happy. The transformation in Danny's face was instant and complete. The worry and sadness melted away, replaced by pure joy and disbelief. His smile was so bright it seemed to light up the entire bakery. Really? Really, really? He asked, bouncing slightly on his toes. Really, really, Maya confirmed, already reaching for a cake box. Now let's get this beautiful cake ready for your mom. As Maya carefully lifted the chocolate cake from the display case, she felt a warmth spreading through her chest that had nothing to do with the bakery's ovens. Maya watched as Danny's face lit up with pure happiness. The transformation was incredible. One moment he had been on the verge of heartbreak, and now he looked like he might float right up to the ceiling with joy. She carefully placed the chocolate cake into a white bakery box, taking extra time to make sure it was perfectly centered. Wait here for just a second, Maya told Danny, who was practically vibrating with excitement. I want to make this extra special for your mom. She disappeared into the back room where they kept the decorating supplies. Maya wasn't the bakery's official decorator, that was Mrs. Chen's specialty, but she had picked up some skills during her 2 years working there. She grabbed a tube of pink frosting and returned to the counter where Danny was waiting, his nose pressed against the glass as he watched her every move. What are you going to do? Danny asked, his voice filled with wonder. You'll see, Maya said with a mysterious smile. She carefully reopened the cake box and picked up the frosting tube. With steady hands, she began writing in elegant cursive letters across the top of the cake. Happy birthday, Mom. Danny gasped as he watched the words appear. Wow, you can write on cakes? It's one of my favorite parts of working here, Maya admitted, adding a small heart after the word Mom. Every cake should feel personal, don't you think? She's going to cry, Danny said softly, but he was smiling when he said it. Mom always cries when she's really happy. She cried when I made her a card at school last year. Maya felt her heart squeeze. She could picture it perfectly. Danny's mother, probably exhausted from working 2 jobs, receiving a homemade card from her thoughtful son and being overwhelmed by his love. Moms do that, Maya agreed. My mom cried when I gave her a coupon book I made in 3rd grade. One coupon was For one free hug and another was for help with dishes without complaining. Danny giggled. Did you really help with dishes without complaining? Well, Maya said, winking, I tried my best, though I might have sighed dramatically a few times. As she worked on the cake, Maya found herself thinking about her own childhood. Her mother had worked long hours at a local diner, coming home with sore feet and a tired smile. Maya remembered how hard her mom had tried to make birthdays special. Even when money was tight, there had been homemade cakes from box mix, small gifts wrapped in newspaper comics, and always, always so much love. There, Maya said, stepping back to admire her work. The pink lettering looked beautiful against the chocolate frosting, and she had added a few decorative swirls around the edges. What do you think? Danny stared at the cake with reverence as if he was looking at the most precious treasure in the world. It's perfect, he whispered. It's the most beautiful cake ever. Maya carefully closed the box and tied it with a pink ribbon she found behind the counter. She was putting the finishing touches on the bow when she heard footsteps approaching from the office area. Her stomach dropped slightly as she recognized the heavy footfalls of Mr. Peterson, the bakery manager. Mr. Peterson was a tall, thin man, in his 50s, who took the bakery's policies very seriously. He wasn't a bad person, but he was strict about rules and procedures. Maya had always gotten along with him well enough, but she suddenly realized that what she had just done might not look good from a business perspective. Maya, Mr. Peterson's voice was measured and professional. I need to speak with you for a moment. Maya's heart started beating faster, but she kept her voice calm. Of course, Mr. Peterson. Just let me finish helping this customer. She turned back to Danny, who was counting out his money again, making sure every dollar and coin was accounted for. His little fingers were careful and deliberate as he placed the bills in a neat stack. Here, Danny said proudly, pushing the money toward Maya. $23.47, plus the $20 you added. That's enough, right? That's exactly right, Maya confirmed, accepting the money. She opened the cash register and put the money inside, her hands trembling slightly. She could feel Mr. Peterson's eyes on her, and she wondered if he had seen the entire interaction. Maya, Danny said suddenly, his voice small and serious. Thank you so much for helping me. I don't know why you were so nice to me, but my mom always says that when someone is kind to you, you should remember it forever. The sincerity in his young voice made Maya's throat tight. Your mom sounds very wise, she managed to say. And you know what? Helping you made me happy too. Sometimes the best parts of our day come from helping other people. Danny nodded solemnly, as if he was filing away this important life lesson. I'm going to help other people too, when I'm bigger. I bet you will, Maya said, handing him the boxed cake. You've got a good heart, Danny. Danny carefully cradled the cake box in his arms like it was made of glass. I can't wait to see Mom's face when I give this to her. She gets home from her second job at 6 o'clock. I'm going to have it sitting right on the kitchen table when she walks in the door. The image of this scene made Maya smile despite her nervousness about Mr. Peterson's presence. She could picture Danny, probably standing on a chair to light the candles, waiting by the door for his mother's return from a long day of work. She's going to be so surprised, Maya agreed, and so proud of you for thinking of her. Danny started toward the door, then paused and turned back. Maya, what's your favorite kind of cake? The question caught her off guard. Me? I think I like strawberry cake best. Why? Just wondering, Danny said with a shy smile. Maybe someday I can get you one to say thank you. Before Maya could respond, Danny pushed through the front door, the little bell chiming behind him. Through the window, she watched him walk, carefully down the sidewalk, holding the cake box like it contained the crown jewels. A few steps from the bakery, he stopped and did a little skip of pure joy, then continued on his way, being extra careful not to jostle his precious cargo. Maya stood at the window for a moment longer, watching until Danny disappeared around the corner. The warm feeling in her chest was like sunshine, spreading through her entire body. She had given up her lunch money for the next few days, but seeing Danny's happiness made it feel like the best trade she had ever made. Maya, Mr. Peterson's voice brought her back to reality. His tone was serious, and when she turned to face him, his expression was unreadable. Yes, sir? Maya tried to keep her voice steady. We need to talk. In my office. Now. Maya's heart sank as she followed Mr. Peterson toward the small office at the back of the bakery. She had a sinking feeling that her act of kindness was about to have consequences she hadn't considered. But as she walked, she caught sight of the pink ribbon that had fallen on the counter, and she thought of Danny's joyful skip down the sidewalk. Whatever happened next, Maya knew she would make the same choice again in a heartbeat. Maya's hands felt clammy as she followed Mr. Peterson into his small office. The space was cramped and windowless, with filing cabinets lining one wall and a desk cluttered with invoices and schedule sheets. The fluorescent light above buzzed softly, casting harsh shadows that made everything feel more serious than usual. Please sit down, Mr. Peterson said, gesturing to the uncomfortable metal chair across from his desk. His voice wasn't angry, but it wasn't friendly either. It was the tone of someone about to deliver news that nobody wanted to hear. Maya perched on the edge of the chair, her heart hammering in her chest. She tried to read Mr. Peterson's expression, but his face gave nothing away. He opened a manila folder and pulled out some papers, arranging them carefully on his desk before looking up at her. Maya, I need to ask you about what just happened out there with that young customer, he began, leaning back in his chair. Can you walk me through exactly what occurred? Maya took a deep breath, trying to organize her thoughts. A little boy came in wanting to buy a birthday cake for his mother. He had been saving his money, but he was about $12 short of the price. And what did you do? Mr. Peterson's pen was poised over a notepad, ready to write down her response. I helped him, Maya said simply. I added my own money to his so he could buy the cake he wanted. Mr. Peterson nodded slowly, making notes. And did you adjust the price in the register to reflect what the customer actually paid? Maya's stomach dropped. She realized now what this was really about. No, sir. I put in the full amount, his money plus mine. The register shows the correct total for the cake. So from the bakery's perspective, the sale was completed at full price, Mr. Peterson continued. But you personally subsidized the difference. Yes, Maya admitted quietly. I suppose that's what happened. Mr. Peterson set down his pen and looked at her directly. Maya, I want you to understand that I don't question your intentions. What you did came from a good place. But I need to explain why this creates problems for the business. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. She had been so focused on helping Danny that she hadn't thought about the business implications of her actions. Our policies exist for important reasons, Mr. Peterson continued. When employees make unauthorized price adjustments or personal, financial contributions to sales, it creates several issues. First, it sets a precedent that other customers might expect. Second, it can affect our inventory tracking and financial records. And third, it puts the business at risk legally. But I paid the difference myself, Maya protested weakly. The bakery didn't lose any money. I understand that, and I appreciate that you were trying to do right by both the customer and the business. But the process matters as much as the outcome. Mr. Peterson's voice was patient but firm. What if that customer tells his friends that we give discounts to children? What if other employees start making similar decisions without approval? What if something had gone wrong with the transaction and the customer claimed we had agreed to a different price? Maya felt smaller with each question. She hadn't considered any of these possibilities when she saw Danny's tears and made her impulsive decision to help. I'm sorry, she said quietly. I wasn't thinking about those things. I just saw a little boy who wanted to do something special for his mother, and I wanted to help. And that speaks well of your character, Mr. Peterson replied. But character alone isn't enough in a business environment. We have to follow procedures, even when they feel restrictive. Maya stared at her hands, feeling foolish and naive. What happens now? Mr. Peterson was quiet for a long moment, and Maya could hear the clock on the wall ticking loudly. When he finally spoke, his voice was heavy with reluctance. Maya, you're a good employee. You're reliable, you're kind to customers, and you work hard. Mrs. Chen speaks very highly of you. He paused, and Maya felt a but coming that would change everything. But I can't ignore a clear violation of company policy, especially when it involves financial transactions. Are you? Are you firing me? Maya's voice came out as barely a whisper. I'm sorry, Maya. I really am, but yes, I have to let you go. The words hit Maya like a physical blow. She felt dizzy, like the small office was spinning around her. Mr. Peterson, please. I need this job. I'm paying for college, and my rent is due next week. I know, and I wish there was another way. But if I make an exception for you, how do I justify enforcing the rules with other employees? What if someone else makes a decision that costs the business real money and claims they were just following? Your example? Maya felt tears building behind her eyes, but she fought them back. She wouldn't cry. Not here, not now. Can I at least finish my shift today? I have customers who... I think it's better if you gather your things now, Mr. Peterson interrupted gently. Carmen is coming in early to cover the rest of your shift. The finality in his voice made it clear that the decision was made. There would be no negotiating, no second chances, no appeals to his sympathy. Maya nodded numbly and stood up from the uncomfortable chair. For what it's worth, Mr. Peterson said as she reached for the door handle, I hope that little boy and his mother had a wonderful birthday celebration, and I hope you find another position soon. You'll make a good employee for someone who can afford to be more flexible with policies. Maya walked out of the office in a daze. The bakery suddenly felt different, no longer the warm, welcoming place, where she had worked for 2 years, but a business where she was no longer welcome. Carmen, who worked part-time on weekends, was already tying on her apron and looked surprised to see Maya. Hey, Maya, I thought I wasn't scheduled until 3. Change of plans, Maya managed to say. I'm leaving early today. She walked to the small employee area behind the counter, where the workers kept their personal belongings. Her few items, a sweater, her textbook from morning classes, and a half-empty water bottle, fit easily into her backpack. As she packed, she could hear Carmen asking Mrs. Chen what was going on. Mrs. Chen's voice was quiet when she responded, but Maya caught the words policy violation and had to let her go. The elderly woman sounded genuinely sad, which somehow made everything worse. Maya slung her backpack over her shoulder and walked toward the front door. Several regular customers were sitting at the small tables, and she wondered if any of them had witnessed her interaction with Danny. Did they think she had done the right thing, or did they agree with Mr. Peterson that she had crossed a line? As she pushed open the front door, the little bell chimed one last time. Maya paused on the sidewalk and looked back through the window at the place where she had worked for 2 years. It looked the same as always, but she would never be part of it again. The walk to her apartment felt endless. With each step, the reality of her situation became clearer. She had lost her job, her steady income, and her ability to pay for the things she needed. All because she had wanted to help a little boy buy his mother a birthday cake. By the time Maya reached her small studio apartment, the tears she had been holding back finally came. She sat on her second-hand couch and cried for her lost job, for her financial uncertainty, and for the harsh lesson she had learned about good intentions and real-world consequences. Maya spent the next 3 days barely leaving her apartment. She had called in sick to her classes, claiming she had the flu, which wasn't entirely a lie. She felt sick to her stomach every time she thought about her situation. Her savings account had exactly $147, and her rent was due in 10 days. The math was simple and terrifying. On Thursday morning, her phone buzzed with a text from Carmen, her former co-worker at the bakery. Hey, can you call me when you get a chance? Something crazy is happening here. Maya stared at the message for several minutes before deciding to call back. Carmen's voice was excited when she answered. Maya! Oh my goodness, you need to know what's going on. That little boy you helped? His mom came in yesterday looking for you. Maya's heart skipped. Danny's mom? What did she want? She wanted to thank you personally. She said Danny told her the whole story about how you helped him buy the cake with your own money. Maya, she was crying right there in the bakery. She said it was the most beautiful thing anyone had ever done for her family. Despite everything, Maya felt a warm flutter in her chest. How did she find out what happened? Danny told her everything. About not having enough money, about you adding your own cash, about how you decorated the cake special for her. She said when she saw that cake sitting on her kitchen table when she got home from work, she just broke down crying. But then when Danny explained how you helped him, she cried even harder. Maya found herself smiling for the first time in days. I'm glad the cake made her happy, that's all I wanted. But Maya, that's not the crazy part. After she left yesterday, other customers started asking questions. Mrs. Rodriguez heard the whole conversation, and she was furious when she found out you got fired for helping a child. She started telling everyone who came in. Oh no, Maya groaned. I don't want to cause problems for the bakery. Too late for that, Carmen said, and Maya could hear the grin in her voice. By closing time yesterday, we had at least 20 customers asking about what happened to you. Mrs. Rodriguez posted something on her Facebook about it, and it's spreading like crazy. Maya felt a mix of gratitude and panic. Carmen, I don't want this to become a big thing. Mr. Peterson was just doing his job. Well, it's already a big thing. This morning when I got to work, there were people waiting outside with signs. Actual signs, Maya. One said, "Bring back Maya," and another one said, "Kindness shouldn't be punished." You're joking. I am not joking. Mrs. Chen was so flustered she didn't know what to do, and then Channel 7 showed up. Maya's stomach dropped. The news? A reporter and a camera guy. They interviewed Mrs. Rodriguez, and she told the whole story about how you sacrificed your own money to help a little boy. The reporter tried to interview Mr. Peterson, but he just said, "No comment," and went back inside. Maya sank onto her couch, overwhelmed. This is insane. I just helped a kid buy a cake. Maya, people are calling you a hero. The story is all over social media now. There are photos of Danny and his mom with the cake, and she posted this long message about how your kindness restored her faith in humanity. She posted photos? Maya felt invaded and touched at the same time. With their permission, obviously. But Maya, you should see the comments. Hundreds of people sharing stories about times when strangers helped them. And they're all saying the bakery made a terrible mistake firing you. Maya was quiet for a moment, processing everything. How's Mrs. Chen handling all this? She looks like she hasn't slept. She keeps saying she had no idea Mr. Peterson was going to fire you, and that if she had been there, things would have been different. She's been trying to call you, actually. Saw the missed calls. I haven't been ready to talk to anyone. Maya, there's something else. The story made it onto some big Facebook pages, and now people from all over the country are commenting. Someone started a fundraising page to help you with expenses while you look for a new job. A what? Maya's voice came out as a squeak. A GoFundMe page. It's called Help Maya, the bakery server who got fired for being kind. As of this morning, it had raised over $3,000. Maya felt dizzy. Carmen, that's impossible. I don't even know 3,000 people. You don't have to know them. The story touched people, Maya. There are comments from parents saying they hope their kids grow up to be as caring as you are. There are comments from people saying they've been in Danny's mom's situation and they know how much your help meant to her. Maya's phone started buzzing with another call. Carmen, I have another call coming in. Can I call you back? Of course, but Maya, check your email when you get a chance. And maybe look at the news online. This story is everywhere. Maya hung up and looked at the incoming call. It was a number she didn't recognize with a local area code. Against her better judgment, she answered. Hello? Is this Maya Chen? The voice was professional and friendly. Yes, this is Maya. Hi Maya, my name is Rachel Torres and I'm the manager at Riverside Community Center. I've been following your story in the news and I wanted to reach out about a position we have available. A job? Maya's heart started beating faster. Yes. We're looking for someone to coordinate our community outreach programs. It involves working with families and children, organizing events, and connecting people with resources they need. Based on what I've read about you, I think you'd be perfect for it. Maya was speechless. The pay is better than most retail positions, Rachel continued, and we offer full benefits including health insurance and tuition assistance for employees going to college. Would you be interested in coming in for an interview? Yes. Yes, I would be very interested. Wonderful. How does tomorrow at 10 o'clock sound? After Maya hung up, she sat in stunned silence for several minutes. Then she opened her laptop and searched for news about herself. The first result made her gasp. There was her photo, the one from the bakery's employee bulletin board, next to a headline that read, "Local college student fired for act of kindness sparks community outrage." The article had been shared over 1,500 times on Facebook. Alone. Maya scrolled through the comments, reading message after message of support from complete strangers. People were sharing their own stories of kindness, posting photos of acts of generosity they had witnessed, and calling for the bakery to rehire her. One comment stood out from a woman named Lisa. "This young lady represents everything good about humanity. She saw a child in need and helped without thinking twice about personal cost. If more people were like Maya, the world would be a much better place." Another comment from someone named Robert read, "I've been to this bakery many times and Maya always went out of her way to be helpful and kind. Firing her for having a good heart is the worst business decision they could have made." Maya closed her laptop, feeling overwhelmed by the sudden attention but also deeply moved by the support from her community and beyond. 3 days ago, she had been fired and felt like her world was falling apart. Now, somehow, that one moment of kindness had created something much bigger than she could have ever imagined. Maya spent Friday morning getting ready for her interview at the community center. She had chosen her most professional outfit, a simple blue blouse and black pants, and practiced answering interview questions in front of her bathroom mirror. The nervous butterflies in her stomach were different this time, though. Instead of the sick worry she had felt all week, these butterflies carried hope. The interview went better than Maya could have dreamed. Rachel Torres turned out to be a warm, energetic woman in her 40s who had built the community center's programs from the ground up. They talked for over an hour about Maya's experience working with customers, her college studies in social work, and her natural instinct to help others. "The truth is," Rachel said near the end of their conversation, "your story is exactly the kind of heart we need on our team. Someone who sees a problem and acts to solve it, even when it costs them." Personally, Maya felt tears of gratitude starting to form. "Thank you for giving me this chance, especially after everything that happened. Maya, what happened at the bakery wasn't a mistake on your part. It was a glimpse into who you really are. And that's exactly the person we want working with families in our community." When Maya left the community center, she had a job offer that paid more than the bakery position and came with benefits she had never imagined having. But the real surprise came when she got home and found Carmen sitting on her apartment steps. "Carmen, what are you doing here? Don't you have to work?" Carmen stood up with a huge grin on her face. "That's what I came to tell you about. Maya, you're not going to believe what happened today." They sat on Maya's small couch as Carmen told her story. "So this morning I get to work and there's this fancy car parked outside. A BMW. I figured it was just someone buying a lot of pastries for an office or something. But then this elegant woman in a business suit walks in and asks to speak with Mrs. Chen." Maya listened intently as Carmen continued. "Turns out this woman is Isabella Romano, as in Romano family, as in the family that owns Romano Industries downtown. The construction company?" Maya knew the name. Romano Industries had built half the office buildings in their city. "Exactly. So Ms. Romano sits down with Mrs. Chen and explains that she's been following the news about you. She says her own daughter is in college and she was moved by the story of a young woman sacrificing her own money to help a child." Carmen paused dramatically. "Maya, she offered to buy the bakery." "What?" Maya's voice came out as a whisper. "She wants to buy Sunshine Bakery from Mrs. Chen, who's been wanting to retire anyway. But here's the crazy part. She said her first condition of purchase was that you had to be rehired, not just as a regular employee but as assistant manager." Maya stared at Carmen in disbelief. "That's impossible." "I watched it happen, Maya." Mrs. Chen started crying happy tears. She said she's been worried about what would happen to the bakery when she retired, and she's been feeling terrible about you getting fired. Ms. Romano is offering her enough money to retire comfortably, and she wants to keep all the current employees. What about Mr. Peterson?" Carmen's expression grew more serious. That's where it gets interesting. Mrs. Chen had a long talk with him this afternoon. Turns out he's been feeling awful about firing you. He said he couldn't stop thinking about that little boy and his mother, and he realized he might have been too rigid about the rules. Maya felt a mix of emotions: relief, vindication, but also sympathy for Mr. Peterson. She had been angry with him, but she understood he had been trying to do his job. Ms. Romano wants to meet with you tomorrow, Carmen continued. She said she's impressed by your character and wants you to help her transition the bakery to new ownership while keeping the heart and soul that makes it special. The next morning, Maya found herself back at Sunshine Bakery, but everything felt different. Ms. Romano was indeed elegant and professional, but she also had a warmth that put Maya at ease immediately. They talked over coffee and fresh croissants about Maya's vision for the bakery and how they could better serve the community. I believe businesses have a responsibility to their communities, Ms. Romano explained. What you did for that little boy wasn't a policy violation. It was exactly the kind of human connection that makes a business worth supporting. During their conversation, the front door chimed and Maya looked up to see a familiar small figure entering the bakery. Danny walked in holding hands with a woman who looked tired but happy. Clearly his mother, Jessica. Maya. Danny's face lit up when he saw her. He ran over to her table, his mother following more slowly. "Hi, Danny," Maya said, standing to greet them. "How are you?" "Mom loved the cake so much," Danny said, practically bouncing with excitement. "She said it was the best birthday she ever had. And guess what? She got a new job." Jessica approached with tears in her eyes. "Are you Maya? I've been hoping to meet you." The two women hugged, and Maya felt Jessica's genuine gratitude in that embrace. "I can't thank you enough," Jessica said quietly. "What you did for Danny, for our family, it meant everything. But I heard about what happened to your job, and I felt terrible." "Please don't feel bad," Maya replied. "Helping Danny was the right thing to do, no matter what happened after." Ms. Romano, who had been watching this exchange with interest, stood up and introduced herself to Jessica and Danny. "I'm Isabella Romano, and I just wanted you both to know that your story helped me realize this bakery needed someone with Maya's heart involved in running it." Danny looked confused by all the adult conversation, but he seemed to sense something good was happening. "Does this mean Maya gets to work here again?" "It means," Ms. Romano said with a smile, "that Maya is going to help make sure this bakery is always a place where kindness is rewarded, not punished." Over the following weeks, Maya settled into her new role as assistant manager. The story of her firing and rehiring had brought more customers to the bakery than ever before, but more importantly, it had created a culture where acts of kindness were celebrated. They started a pay-it-forward program where customers could contribute to a fund that helped families like Danny's afford special treats for important occasions. Maya also kept her new position at the community center, working part-time at both places. The schedule was busy, but both jobs filled her with purpose in different ways. 3 months later, Maya was working the morning shift when Danny came in with a small wrapped box. "This is for you," he said shyly, placing the box on the counter. Inside was a cupcake with strawberry frosting, Maya's favorite flavor, which Danny had remembered from months before. Written in careful child's handwriting on top was, "Thank you, Maya. I bought it with my own allowance money," Danny said proudly, "and I had enough this time." As Maya looked at the cupcake, she realized that sometimes the most important moments in life come from the simplest acts of human kindness. Her decision to help a little boy buy his mother a cake had changed not just Danny's day, but the entire direction of her own life. The lesson she learned wasn't about money or jobs or business policies. It was about the ripple effects of compassion and how one moment of choosing to help another person can create waves of goodness that extend far beyond anything we can imagine. And every time she saw Danny's bright smile, Maya knew that no matter what challenges life brought her way, she would always choose kindness first.